You've heard of the tortoise. You've heard of the sea turtle. You've heard of the box turtle. But I present to you now the world's first and only exploding turtle. It wasn't actually like an actual living turtle. It was made out of paper, but trust me, it was really funny, okay? All right, welcome back to Real Life Stories with Linehead. Today we're going back to the far, far distant past of 4th grade, which for me was like 2008 or something. It was the end of the year, and the teacher had given us this fun end of the year project, which was to build a life-size replica of a certain type of sea turtle. We were split into groups of about 4 people, and basically the project was to just like cut out a turtle and make a turtle. I'm not really sure like what we were supposed to learn from this. I guess just like how big a turtle was. But you know, it was actually a really cool project and we were all really happy to do it. So in order to make a life-size turtle, it had to be 3-dimensional. And the only way for us to make it 3-dimensional with the limited resources that we had was to basically take 2 pieces of paper and staple them together around the edges and then stuff it with like a bunch of crumbled up wads of paper. And it was kind of convenient because it was the end of the year and we had like a lot of like old papers that we didn't need anymore anyway. So we were basically just stuffing it full of like random old graded papers that we just didn't need anymore. And what made it doubly convenient was that my friends and I at the time had been starting a campaign. And that campaign was against something that all of us hated, which was, of course, homework. The greatest injustice of elementary school life. Now, how did we fight against the injustice, you might ask? Well, we had a lot of methods, which include burning it, freezing it, and flushing it down the toilet, but that's actually not what this video is about. I made another video about the Homework Destruction Club back in 2017. Link will be in the description if you're interested. It's kind of an old video, so there's a lot of problems with it, but yeah, whatever. That's not what this video is about. So basically, as a head member of the Homework Destruction Club, I found it really convenient that we had to like stuff these turtles with crumbled up pieces of paper anyway. So I basically just added shoving it into the turtle as like another item on the docket of ways to destroy homework. And honestly, I can't really say it was that like innovative because like everyone was doing that anyway by default. It was just like old graded papers. But I thought I was a genius because it was basically like everyone else was part of my club. So one day while we were working on our turtle, my teacher gave us this huge workbook to take home over summer. And you know, of course, the only thing that's more unjust than homework in general is homework being over summer break. And I knew that if I were to take that workbook home, my parents were going to force me to do math over summer break. So, you know, being the 4th grade genius that I was, I opted to rip the workbook in half and shove the halves into the turtle that we were making. So, you know, we finished stapling the turtle, thus securely sealing that workbook from ever seeing the light of day again. And the time came for someone from each group to take their turtle home. And now at this point, I was really proud of my turtle. I had put in a lot of work making a life-size replica sea turtle. Why? I don't know, but I was really proud of what I had done. So I quickly volunteered to be the person to take home my group's turtle. And in retrospect, I don't think I really thought it through that much because I rode my bike to school and the turtle was like too big and flopped all over the place too much for me to even carry it by myself if I was just walking, let alone riding a bike. But I figured that I could get my best friend Harith to help me take the turtle home and we'd be fine. So I went to ask him to help me take my turtle home, only to find out that he had also volunteered to take his group's turtle home, leaving us with 2 giant turtles that we had no idea how to move. Now, I don't know why they did this, but like right before we left, 2 of Harth's group members decided to like drag the turtle outside, and they really hadn't done like a very good job of making it. So when they tried to drag it outside, it caused this like huge tear in the outside paper. And since it was outside, the wind actually started to pick up and it began to sweep away the intestines of Harth's turtle. So we basically were left like with these 2 turtles that we didn't know how to move, one of which was literally bleeding out and leaving entrails around the outside of the school. And we were just 2 4th graders with no one to help us, and we had no idea what to do. So I did the only natural thing to do when you're a 4th grader and you need help with something, and I called my mom. So my mom made the like 7-minute walk from my house to the school and came to help us. At this point, there was no salvaging Harth's turtle. There were just papers everywhere. And we had to spend like the next hour just picking up all of these like crumbled up pieces of paper that had just blown all over the outside of the school. And we filled up an entire trash bag with it, but there was still just papers blowing around everywhere. It was like we'd made no progress at all. So my mom ended up stopping this random janitor that was walking by with a trash can. And when we tried to explain why we needed the trash can, she just looked really confused. But we figured out that the reason she was confused was because she literally didn't speak any English at all. So my mom actually had to explain this entire turtle situation in Spanish, after which she was more than happy to help. So we gathered all the turtle entrails into this other trash can, finally clearing the schoolyard the best that we could. There were still bits of paper flying around, but we couldn't do anything about it. And we set off to go back to my house with the last surviving turtle. Now at this point, I still had my bike. So what we decided to do is to have Harth and my mom try to carry this turtle while I walked my bike next to them. Now, this was the point where the structural integrity of our creation was really put to the test, because this turtle wasn't exactly designed to be carried long distances, and on top of that, it was a very windy day. So, to our credit, we actually made it all the way off of school property to where there was a semi-busy street, but that's when the paper was no longer to hold itself, and in a very violent and tragic moment, a workbook-shaped hole emerged in the turtle's stomach, causing a bunch of papers to spill out onto the sidewalk where the wind just happened to be blowing it towards the street. Now, I would say that this was kind of an unfortunate moment, but because the papers all headed straight for the street, that's what distracted my mom from the fact that the culprit of the rip was the two halves of my workbook. So I ran over there, snatched up the workbook halves, and tossed it down a nearby gutter, and to my great triumph, nobody was actually paying attention to anything I was doing at the time, so I did indeed successfully evade summer homework in perhaps the most roundabout way possible. After that, there was a long and belated cleanup process in which we had to go all the way back to the school, talk to the same janitor, get another trash bag, go all the way back to the site of the explosion, and fill 2 more trash bags with turtle intestines, after which we had to lug the bags all the way back to the school, make sure they got into the dumpster, and then we were able to actually go home to my house. So in total, I was about 2 hours late getting home from school that day, all because of the tragic deaths of 2 paper turtles who will be deeply missed by all turtle society. As for me, I can only be grateful for the sacrifice that these turtles made to the cause of homework destruction and summer homework avoidance. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you all enjoyed. Still trying to keep that weekly upload grind up, even though college has started for me now. Might be difficult, but I'm still trying my best. So thank you for watching, and don't forget, follow your dreams.